Hey everyone, hope you're well. It's been, a week since I've done a video now, more than a week, and I don't mean to be so stop, start, but it's been a mixture of things. It's been because work has been absolutely hammered with new stuff to write out and do, which is fantastic. It means that the world is getting back to normal, that everybody's out and about and busy. But on top of that, I've just been really busy with other stuff. Some of it's silly, some of it I should know better. Some of it's been my ongoing project with Ollie. Some of it's me building new Nemesis, which I'll get to later in the video. But yeah, it's been a bit of a weird one, really. It's been a very sheepdog time as well. I started to get really mean and grumpy over yesterday and the day before, thinking the kids were just getting a bit bored or everything was a bit annoying, and then I've realised it's because my 3-monthly jab is due tomorrow. Claire and I are talking about setting an alarm now to say like a week in advance that I might start feeling a bit odd. But yeah, I can't remember how often I've spoken about it, probably every time, but basically every 3 months I have to have an injection, which I don't know if I ever mentioned. I only found out on Reddit I have to have forever. Basically, I started getting testosterone injections. A few of my hormones are lower, so my thyroid hormone's low, and my testosterone hormone is low, and they have to keep an eye on the other hormones that the pituitary gland makes. And so far, they all seem within the normal bits, although I'm slightly concerned that they'll all slowly drop one by one over time. But yeah, that means that they started me on these injections, and they were like, you need to have them every week for a bit, then you have to have them every month for a bit, and then you have to have them every like whatever. And now I'm on the 3-monthly bit, and I always assumed that it would suddenly become 6 months, 9 months, a year, 2 years, so on and so forth. Maybe not ever again after, I don't know. But someone was talking about something they had to do on a thread, and they mentioned they were having the jabs, and I asked them, I was like, how long have you been having them? And they were like, about 15 years or whatever. And I said, and are they forever? And they were like, yeah, you don't really go off them once you have them. And I just thought, no one ever said that to me. It's really weird that no one ever said to me, oh, by the way, we're going to start giving you this treatment. I mean, it doesn't matter, because it's a bit like breathing. You need air. No one's ever told you will breathe forever. But it seems, maybe they're just not making a big deal of it. But that's two things now. I'm on the thyroxine for life, and I'm on the testosterone for life. And every time I kind of get to this time of the month where the quarter where I have to have it, I start thinking, I can't believe what an old man I am that I have to have these two constant things. And I do need to get regular checks to make sure it's not a third thing and then a fourth thing. By the time I'm like 60, 70, it'll be a battery of things. Like, I'm hoping they'll invent some sort of machine that they can just stick it all in, and the machine can just go, all right, that's that done, that's that done, that's that done. It'd be quite handy. They need to push forward the whole cyborg thing, I think, for my benefit. That wasn't the main thing I wanted to talk about. I've had a bit of a weird week in terms of, so you know about my ongoing vendetta with the neighbours and their music. Some of you might, I don't know if I put it on Twitter actually. I tweeted a video of the noise, and somebody from the local radio saw the video and got in touch and asked if they could ring me, and I gave them a number and they rang me. We've had a chat, and I'm not sure what's happening at the moment, but Friday I was booked in to talk on the radio yesterday, and it didn't happen. They rearranged. They said it'll be Tuesday, Wednesday time. Obviously it's Tuesday today. I've not heard anything from them. I assumed were going to ring me beforehand. At the moment I'm slightly worried that she said it could be Tuesday or Wednesday. We'll ring you in the morning between 7:30 and 8:30, and I'm thinking, well, if it's tomorrow between 7:30 and 8:30, I've got my jab at 8:40, so I'm nervous. Claire's really like fretting because she doesn't want me to start a war. I did say to her, my plan is to go on there as a pseudonym. I considered going on there as Sheepdog, so that anyone who knows me via this would know it was me, but no one else would. So I don't know what to do. They're going to come up with a fake name or whatever, but that'll be fun. I don't really know what they basically want me to talk about the noise. They want to play some of my video off of Twitter, and then they want to bring on like a police officer and a council worker to explain what people can do to combat the noise. Oddly, they've not been as bad in the past couple of days. There was a couple of times over the weekend it was noisy. We just put our music on and they turned theirs down. It was quite amicable, really. It was felt a little bit awkward, like anytime we tried to drown it out, not even excessively, just like I put it on in the kitchen. I went outside and you couldn't hear our music at all. Theirs music was on, but in the house you couldn't hear anything but our music. And then when I turned it off, or a few times I had to pause it, their music had gone. I was like, okay, fair enough. So I just used it as and when I wanted to then. But yeah, it's weird how the universe works that we got that call through. That's been interesting. I'm hoping I get to go on it. It'd be quite fun just to experience it again. It's been a while since I've done an interview on the radio, and even then I didn't expect to really get out. I think I said before, it was about our podcast Kev and I had done. I thought they were going to play Kev talking because he did a lot of the early talking, and then when we put the radio on, it was all me. So I was kind of like, oh, I would have probably spoke a bit differently if I'd known I was actually going to get on there. But we'll see what happens anyway. I don't think I've ever gone on there under my real name, which is quite funny. It's always under a pseudonym of some kind, because I would have been Steve or Sheepdog for that one. One day I might be famous on my own rights, for my own rights online, but not today. Not that I'm going to be famous for arguing with my neighbours. The other thing that happened, which was a bit of a weird feud, you know that I have an ongoing, it's a love-hate relationship with the local groups, and everyone tells me to get out of them. Everyone tells me to stop talking in them and this, that and the other. And they are very handy for keeping track of what's going on locally, for events, you know, shop times, random issues, whatever it is. So one time there was a gunman on the loose, and we were able to use the group to track where he was in the town while the police were getting him. So stuff like that is useful to know. But it's also met with the problem of local people who are very frustrating in their backwards thinking. And earlier in the week, an 80-year-old man posted a story. He posts stories frequently, but he chose to post a story that basically the moral of this tale was that God had created humans to be straight, male and female, to love only the opposite gender, and that the devil had taken offence and he'd made some gay and some trans. And he'd had like 10 replies going, ha ha ha, yeah, brilliant. And I replied going, it's not, you know, it's weird that you've written this. It's weird that you've written a story where you're just bashing homosexuals and trans people. There's no need, really. Like, it's 2020. This doesn't belong here. It doesn't belong in society anywhere. Like, this shouldn't be in this group. And you'd have thought I'd have said kill him or something, the way people reacted. It was absolutely absurd. I had like a handful of people go, yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, it shouldn't be in here. I agree. And a couple of people deleted their praise and come straight over to say, no, that's wrong. This bloke, as I say, just acted like I'd said he should be hung. He was just like, he kept just posting new rants about people who were like Hitler, trying to burn the books, and just referring to me as a Nazi, as this, as that, as the other. And I was trying to be really like, I'll just ignore it, I'll rise above it, I'm just not going to respond. And then you'd see people going, just ignore him, he's a troll, all this. And I'm like, hang on a minute, all I've said is don't be homophobic and don't be transphobic. Like, that's a pretty good given standard. So the admins in this group did nothing for like days, to the point where this guy just was constantly making little comments at me. So I put this massive essay on there about how if you are homophobic, you're wrong. If you're anti-trans, you're wrong, and all of this. And it got like hundreds of responses of support and likes and all of this. And I just thought, brilliant. Like, I've absolutely shown him, put him in his place. You know, he can't deny, because what he kept saying was a minority of people, 2 people disagreed with my story, 1 person said it was bad, and it just turned the whole thing sour. And I was just like, mate, it wasn't 1 person. So in the end, I did this, 250 people, I think it was in the end. And it got to the point where everyone was just like, yeah, he doesn't have a place here, this is outrageous. And then the admin stepped in and just removed it all. And I thought, what the hell? So I had a chat with them, and they were like, look, we just want to end it. We don't condone this. We don't condone him, but we don't condone arguing either. So I just was like, fine. And then he stuck up some snide thing, and I just was like, oh, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. You're an 8-year-old man. You should know better to be picking random, especially when you're in the wrong, but to be just pursuing it. Every time it's been told, stop it there, he pursued it a bit further. And in the end, he said something, and I can't remember exactly what he said or what I said. I'm not going to get into it too much, but the admins on the group were just like, you've just turned this into a vendetta now. And I was like, I haven't. Every time you kill it, he attacks me, and I respond, and then you attack me for responding. And they were like, we're going to just give you both a week out. you're not allowed in here for a week. Just chill out. We'll get rid of you both just to calm the situation down. I've got friends in the group who then were sending me screenshots of him just ranting to himself in the void. It got to the point where he was ranting so much to himself on his own wall that the admins from the group went and said, if you carry on, we're just going to ban you. And he was like, I can say what I want on my own wall. And they were like, yeah, that's not the point. We're banning you if you carry on. My dad was looking into him because he'd seen that he was into all this old army stuff. I had so many random strangers add me to Facebook to say that, like, thank you for supporting the cause. They've got a homosexual son, or someone they love is trans. All these, they were all like, thank you for this, and it was really nice. I've made I've added maybe 6 or 7 new people, and I've had about, I don't know, let's say maybe 10, 15 messages separately. Lots of people saying to me, why do you get into arguments with people? Why do you get in this sort of situation? Why not just ignore him? And I was like, well, because of the amount of people that were grateful. You've had people outright publicly say it, but I had lots of people privately say they wish they could have stood up to him. And yeah, I felt very good. I felt very like the admins reviewed it, because they then put a statement out saying they don't condone any of the stuff he was saying. They also have to try and maintain freedom of speech as much as they can, so they always review things. So very leaning towards, we agree with your sentiment, but they were like, you just derailed everything. So that was days of me just trying really hard to avoid controversy, because I didn't really see it as a controversial subject to defend that thing. But what it ended up doing was Claire's colleagues all saw it and were messaging her about it. Ex-colleagues of mine saw it and were messaging me about it. Like when I sat to do the podcast, Anna was laughing at me about it. It was just like everyone that could possibly have seen it in the area had seen it. I suddenly was reading through thinking, I used to teach those people who liked it, or that's some of my neighbours over there who have liked the homophobic bit. That's a bit worrying, live near a homophobe. It was really interesting just seeing the town just split. Well, I say split, more like sort of 80%, 20% or something like that, maybe even more, 90, 10, I don't know. But I was thinking of ways I can try and push the cause further in a positive light and stuff like that afterwards, and talking to some groups, which would be interesting. If anything comes of it, I'll let you know. But it was a really interesting kind of thing, because I didn't expect, when I just said don't be homophobic, don't be anti-trans, to end up in this massive war with an old man who genuinely, we were allowed back in the group this afternoon, and I'm just going to behave. I'm just not going to do anything. I'm not going to respond to him. But I know, because he's already said he's going to do it on his own wall. Someone showed me it. I know he's going to start doing stuff, and it's just going to be silly. But I've just got to rise above it, because I know I'm in the right, and it's all good. I know I just seem to go hunting for these things, but they just find me. It's not me going out of my way. I just will respond to someone if they're being an idiot. I did respond to something earlier where someone was trying to share some mad 5G conspiracy, and I was just like, no, it's just scientific nonsense at this point. Can't help myself there. Maybe I'll leave that one, because it's not really a hill to die on, whereas the other one was a good cause, a good hill to die on. But yeah, the learning stuff I'm doing with Oliver's been interesting. He's been very frustrating in terms of saying no to everything and resisting everything to the max. All he wants to do, obviously, is play Roblox and play Minecraft and watch YouTube videos. So when I say to him, it's time for us to do our letter, he's like, and all of this. So I thought on F we did flamingos. I don't know if I'd spoken about F, but I thought he'd love that. And he ended up being really like, this is a bit rubbish. We watched him dance and he enjoyed that, but he was a bit like, nah, I'm not, I don't really want to do this anymore. I managed to convince him to watch a video on the Great Barrier Reef for G, and he found it really interesting. He was asking loads of questions. We watched tons of videos about that, and he was really up for it. And then the next day we were doing the heart, because he picked that. I think he thought it'd be a quick, easy one. And there's like a CBeebies program that we put on YouTube, and again, he just switched off. He was just like, whatever. We did igloos, which again, he was like half and half on. He seemed to be really into it, really interested. And then he suddenly got a bit bored. And I thought, I've got to try and make this better, more relatable to him. So for Jay, he picked jelly. And I was like, do you really want to know how jelly's made? That seems like a catastrophic video. Like, the thumbnail of the video was a pig just sat there, really happy looking pig. And I said, do you want me to play this? And in the end, I took it off that one and I played another video that just kind of, because he was like, I know it's made from pigs. And I was like, yeah, but you don't want to watch a video where they actually make it, because you're too young for that. I'll show Emily that. I'll show an older kid that. But showing Ollie it is not nice. So he watched a video about that and was kind of about the fact that it's made out of pig fat. He also wanted to watch a jelly bean one, and I was like, jelly beans are jelly with a shell around them. They're just the same. We watched the video anyway. It turns out they're not at all. It turns out that jelly beans are made out of starch and something else. They're completely vegetarian. They're not vegan because they have beeswax in them, and sometimes shellac, depending on the ingredients. But I think most have got rid of shellac now because it's from bugs and stuff in it. I don't know, I can't remember what shellac was exactly, but yeah, some have beeswax in. I'm not vegan, so I'm happy to eat jelly beans. I've just been avoiding them because I assumed they were pig fat. So that was an interesting one for all of us. And he actually enjoyed it. He ended up watching another video on how bubblegum was made, and we were all a bit grossed out that apparently it contains plastic now. It's just plastic and rubber. They don't even, like, because, I don't know, it was just talking through it, and it just said it used to be made out of, like, starch and sugary bits and bobs and whatever, and then they said now it's made out of, many of them made out of plastic and rubber. I just thought, yuck. Like, I guess that's why you're supposed to spit it out, is it? Obviously it's not going to be toxic, but plastic, really? So yeah, that was odd. We were all a little bit like not going near bubblegum again. The next one we watched was the Kuiper Belt, which Claire was like, what the hell is the Kuiper Belt? And I said, it's the big, like, load of asteroids and debris that Pluto's part of. And she was like, oh, okay. So she watched that one with us because she thought it was interesting. And I thought Ollie would be fascinated by space, but he just he kept dipping in and out of it. I asked him a few questions and he got it. I showed him the Voyager spacecraft leaving our solar system. I showed him the New Horizons when it took pictures of Pluto. Yeah, there were some fascinating videos there. One thing I'm learning is a lot of these videos could do with updating. I almost need to go through and do a video on igloos that's much more up to date and talk around it, and a video on the Kuiper Belt that's much less robotic. And I'm not going to do them because I'm not an expert in them, but someone needs to go through and do these videos a little bit different for this sort of purpose. I ended up we've gone ahead slightly. We watched Elle yesterday instead of today, but I don't know what got him onto it. We were going through L words for the next day, and I said ligers, and he's like, what the hell's a liger? And I said, it's a lion-tiger hybrid. And he was like, what the hell's a hybrid? And I was like, it's just when you take one species and another species and you blend them together. So we ended up watching videos about ligers and tigons, which led to other hybrids like, what's it called, a jaglion and a lion uglar or something like that. It was just like all of the mixed names, like there's ligers and tigers, and then there's litigons and tiglias and stuff like that. It goes on and on and on like that. I learned that something I didn't know, that there is a part of the world where lions and tigers in India did live in the same area, and there was always myths of these bigger versions that were more deadly, but no one ever saw them. They're hundreds of years old in terms of people breeding them. Some sort of kings were giving them and stuff like that. So that was quite cool. But yeah, Ollie kind of enjoys it, but kind of hates being dragged off of the beaten path to it. We tried to get him I set him a task of designing and drawing and designing his own superhero, and he literally drew a stick man on a piece of paper, and then it led to like World War III, and he had a bit of a tantrum, and it just caused no end of headaches for like the next 4 hours. And I just thought that was an epic fail. But he does want to get back to doing it. I think it was just a mixture of him not being in the mood and also the limitations of his ability, I guess. I don't know, like if he didn't see Emily draw, but I'm sure if he saw Emily draw it, he'd be a bit less, it dent his confidence a bit. So I'm trying to boost him to think, go on, draw it, you can do it, just do this shapes, and maybe I'll draw it for him and he'll feel a bit better. But I don't know, I just wanted him to write. The whole point was he's supposed to write out the abilities, and he was getting well excited about that. I made the mistake of suggesting it before bed, and he spent the next hour just standing at the top of the stairs shouting down abilities to me, and like, what about this, what about if I'm like, go to bed Ollie, yeah, go to bed, and he just wasn't going to bed. But he must have got up a lot that night. It was exciting which I thought meant it'd be really good, but I imagine he tired himself out thinking about it. So lesson learned. I'm not suggesting any cool ideas before bed anymore. I'm trying to think what else really happened this week other than that. Work, as I say, it's just been ramping up. It's been busy. I'm very relieved that some deadlines have been pushed back on stuff, because that gives me a lot of headspace. Haven't got my car back yet, which has been a bit of a problem because I've been needing to drive it to things. I was supposed to be picking Ben up today, and I realised that I don't want to drive the replacement car. Turns like a boat. I don't want to drive it. I'm going to crash it. So Claire's accepted my worries, and I'm avoiding it. But I haven't got my car yet, and that's a bit of a worry. I didn't mention, part of the reason I was supposed to do a live video today, but the reason I'm not doing a live video is because I want to watch the Spurs match tonight. Football came back over the weekend and was very disappointing, if I'm honest. It was rubbish, so I'm kind of going to watch Spurs West Ham tonight. If it's, I can't remember what channel it's on, but if I can, I'll watch it. If this one's rubbish, I think I might just stop, because it wasn't the football exactly, it was just how boring it was. Like, I just thought, why do I care? I don't care. Well, it doesn't affect me in any way if these people win, lose or draw. It doesn't bother me, you know what I mean? I just felt like I'd been away from it long enough that the hook just wasn't there. I don't care who wins the league. I don't care who signs through. I forgot half the players' names. I feel like I've just kind of gone off it, which is a bit sad really, because I used to be a massive Spurs fan, like ridiculously massive. Whereas lately I've just been like, it's because we've got Mourinho as manager and I'm just like, ugh, it's always been the enemy. So yeah, I'm having a bit of a crisis there. Although I'm hoping the new season might make a difference perhaps, and you know, people will get me into it. It's probably just an ebb and flow thing. I've been hammering gaming for the past few days. No, don't spoil it for me if I say I'm playing Last of Us. Don't leave comments about the game. I don't want to hear it. I'm really worried about getting a spoiler, but I'm playing The Last of Us. Loving that. It's been really good. Because there's nothing on telly other than football, I've been spending most of the time up here, just sat playing that. I've cured my motion sickness because the settings are really good on it, and I'm sitting at the end of the bed with all these fans and stuff on. So yeah, it's been all right. I'm feeling quite, I don't know, I need to have this jab. It has slowed me down a bit. My brain is not fully there. I definitely feel it more today than I have. Like, I didn't really know why I was feeling weird 2 days ago, but today I know why I'm feeling weird. Like, I realised just before I got the alert on my phone, I thought it's tomorrow. I got to have my jab tomorrow, and then I got the alert about an hour later, and I just thought, yeah, I can feel it. I can really feel it now, and it is silly and frustrating, and I've only got to do this another 400 times or something stupid. I don't even know. If I live for 100 years, then yeah, 400 more times. That's, if I live to 130, that's a bit much. But yeah, no more than 100 more times have I got to feel like this. God, it doesn't feel as bad when I put it like that. It means it doesn't feel like 4 times a year, 400. That's not even likely to happen. Yeah, I've lost. Again, I'm losing my train of thought. But yeah, 400 times is the absolute maximum if I was the longest living man alive. So yeah, it's very unlikely. It's probably not a bit too dramatic, but it's probably more like 200 at best, I guess. Especially the fact I'm on them. Anyway, I'm getting a bit depressing now. Sorry. Focus on the fact. Hopefully, I'll be on the radio. If I am, I'll do a vlog about how funny it was. If you can get Radio Cambridgeshire where you are, keep an eye on Twitter, and I'll tweet if I am on. You can just hear me rambling about it. I mentioned to them that I've been talking about it on here, and that I thought it was actually quite a small problem, and then you lot were all like, bloody hell, and they found that quite funny. Even the lady interviewing me said she has a noisy neighbour, which is why she's doing the video, and her neighbours are nowhere near as noisy as mine, and I found that quite eye-opening. Claire and I now think we've got a much higher tolerance for annoyance than we thought we had, and that the fact we're annoyed is probably mental, because other people would have probably blown a gasket by that measure. I don't know, maybe we're wrong, but we'll see. Anyway, I'm gonna wrap up. Thanks for watching. Any questions, let me know how you're getting on in the comments. Let me know how your week's going, any topics you want me to cover, any suggestions for Ollie's alphabet thing. We're up to M tomorrow. It's all useful ideas. I can throw it in. I think we're resigned to the fact they're not going back to school until September now. I don't know if I said that before, but that all feels weird. Claire's work's going back to normal, really. Mine's getting busy. So we're kind of, yeah, it's getting a bit weird. But hopefully that means we'll have lots more to talk about. Hopefully the next time you talk to me, I won't have already been banned from this group again, because I'm trying to be good. But I was being good anyway. But yeah, that's my lot. Hope you're all well. Thanks for watching. Cheers.